Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bio. This week I am joined by Oliver Bond, who is a young entrepreneur, DJ, and the founder of Our House, which is a social media marketing agency helping DJs, artists, and creators grow real audiences and turn attention into income. Starting out by building his own platforms to over 100,000 followers, Ollie now works with emerging and established talent across the electronic music scene, specializing in short form content, branding, and digital growth strategies. Welcome to the show, Ollie.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Good. I'm looking forward to our conversation. So, for people who don't know you yet, what sits beyond the bio? Because you're a musician and you run a marketing agency working with DJs and artists. How did those two worlds come together?
To be honest, it starts all from the beginning, really, when I was a lot younger. So I had a massive drive for music. I played drums and piano as a kid, and that almost got me into the industry. And I've always had this vision of being a DJ. But for me, from an early age, I kind of understood that to be a DJ, you have to have the talent, obviously, but being able to market yourself is one of the hardest parts about being a DJ. So I thought, what can I do to market myself, essentially? And at the time, I was running short form content on TikTok and Instagram, just clipping accounts. For example, I built a skiing clips channel to about 60,000 followers when I was quite young. And then, so I thought there's some sort of thing here that I can work towards and use to push my music. So I started developing other accounts, which is where Our House came from. And I used Our House to build my own music career whilst helping push other DJs out. So that's how I really got into it.
That is cool. And you mentioned there that you knew that you had to be able to market yourself. So what was the moment where you realized that the talent alone wasn't enough?
So obviously, yeah, I've been practicing all the time and putting short form content out on Instagram and TikTok, but it wasn't really pushing me to that level where I wanted to get at. So I thought if I can surround myself with some of the best artists and DJs about and almost filter my name into that same place, then I can not fake my way into it, but look like I'm following a path that these DJs are already in and surround myself with the good people. So that's exactly what I did. I'd start posting videos about some of the best tracks coming out this week, and you'd have the likes of Calvin Harris, David Guetta, and then I'd slide myself in there as well to kind of show that
Nice.
I'm on that right path as well. But I'm at the early stages of my career, whilst helping out other small artists and the bigger ones as well.
That's cool. And you mentioned there that you use Instagram and TikTok. Have you got a preference between the two platforms?
I prefer TikTok. I feel like both of them are quite difficult to get your head around when you really get into the depths of the analysis and stuff. Whereas TikTok, I feel is slightly more easier to calculate and go viral on, which is why I use that more often.
And do you use the same content, but you chop it up differently for the two platforms? What do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, short form content, it's always changing. You've got to be able to adapt. That's one of the hardest parts with it. And the algorithms, as I'm sure you know, are very complicated to try and push yourself out there. So yeah, there's definitely ways in the editing and how you can retain attention. So retention's much more important on TikTok, as I think it's under 2 seconds before someone will come up with an outcome or a decision on what your video is going to be like. And whereas on Instagram, that's slightly longer, people have a much more longer retention rate. TikTok's much more focused on the instant impact you're having on the people watching.
So on those platforms, are you on those platforms as your name, as you?
So I have my own personal DJ and music account, but I also have Our House, which is a separate marketing agency that I'm running.
And how many followers have you got on each of those?
So my personal TikTok is only around 2,000 at the moment, whereas Our House is reaching 20,000 at the moment. I also have another account called Groove Room, which I don't actually own myself anymore, but that was around 60,000.
Did you sell it?
Yeah, I did.
That's wild. People selling
Yeah.
accounts. That's cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're now sort of working with lots of artists. What are the common personal branding mistakes that you see in creative people make?
That's an interesting one, actually, because a lot of creators are making so much content and putting out so much content, but the market is so diluted for DJs and artists at the moment where you have to make your content count. So many people will think quantity is better than quality. They just want to get as much content out as they can. But really, it comes down to, again, the retention rates, how much audience you're bringing to your account, and whether the audience stay, build a brand, or whether they just see you and forget about you. That's the hardest part, I think.
Would you say less is more then, even on those platforms where you expect to see that higher level of
Yeah.
content?
It's a difficult one because obviously the more content you put out, the more likely you are to go viral and become more recognizable. But that is only to a certain extent. I think you can put out as much content as you like as possible, but it's very difficult to build that brand unless you're really honing down on a message that you're about. And that's what makes you relatable, what makes people come back to you.
So if you were advising someone around how often they should be publishing content on each of those platforms, like Instagram and TikTok, and still maintaining that quality, what would be like gold star for you saying, like, this is how many times you should be posting?
Yeah, so I think you want to be on all platforms because obviously that optimizes your reach. TikTok and Instagram, I think, well, TikTok especially, 2 posts a day is it's a must. It has to happen. And then Instagram, you're looking at a post every other day and a story every day. It just keeps people thinking about and remembering who you are, and that's what really hones down your branding and what makes you what you want to be seen as.
Yeah, I totally agree. And many artists are obviously chasing viral moments. What
Yeah.
is your take on going after those posts that are going to get, X amount of millions of views or whatever? What do you think?
Yeah. It's a fine line because a lot of creators you'll see looking for clickbait and doing very out there, outlandish things just to try and get clicks and comments. And that might often put them in the wrong light, in a bad light, because they're really trying hard to find this desperate content to make them go viral. So it's difficult to find a line. You want to be able to put questions into the audience's mind and make them think about what they're watching instead of just passively viewing it. So it's a hard one. I think there's a very fine line, and you've got to be careful where you cross. But you're better off pushing the limit slightly and seeing where it can take you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's talk about conversion. What would you say is the difference between an audience and a fan base?
So audience is passive. I think people see your videos, they may follow you, but there's no real intent of seeing what you're up to, especially for artists. They want to see what you're doing in your daily life. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to see all the production that goes into your content and into your work. A fan base is looking to see everything. It's not just what's on the front cover. It's not just a great looking photo of you looking good or playing a great song. They want to see the times where it does go wrong because it makes you more relatable. Everyone knows it does go wrong, but if you're not putting that out there and you're not showing all the hard work and the graft that you're putting in, it's very hard to be relatable.
And what do you think needs to be in place to turn that attention into bookings or releases or longer term opportunities, like to actually make some money from it? Or are you wanting the people that you work with to make money from the content itself? Is that how they're monetizing things? Or is it those bookings or, buying the music or whatever?
Yeah, so the music industry everyone knows it's very difficult to make money, and just posting content and just getting streams on your song is almost impossible to make any sort of living from that. So yeah, absolutely, it's the bookings. So you've got to be able to convert your music into bookings. So that's quite often done with showing how you'll be able to make a crowd react, showing you can sell tickets. So if you can bring in a loyal fan base and a booking agent knows you have a loyal fan base that will bring in bookings, then they're more than likely to book you. So that's
Yeah.
for example, if a video has loads of comments and loads of people engaging, saying, "Oh, I love your content" and things, that shows to a booking agent that you have a fan base and these people will come and watch you, and then you end up getting booked.
So when you're working with your clients then, how are you assessing that return on investment for them working with you? Is it around metrics around their socials saying, well, that you've had this amount of impressions or this amount of engagements? Or are you going beyond that and looking at stuff like bookings and saying, well, this post generated X amount of inquiries? Are you going into that detail?
So it depends on the artist I'm working with, for example. So recently I went behind the scenes with James Hype. I had a press pass for his show in Magazine in London. And he's obviously a well-established artist. He can get bookings, no problem. So for me, it's more about, instead of looking at the conversion for bookings for him, it's driving his social media and building that fan base as much as possible. Because although the guy's got around 3 million followers, there's always more people out there who haven't yet seen his content. So then it's getting into retention again and how many people comment and getting these viral clips that are so important to pushing you out there even more.
And how do you identify like what is going to be more viral or more likely to do well? Have you just got this intuition for it? Do you do research? Like, how do you know?
That's the hardest question. That's the question everyone wants to know. But I think current trends are very important. I've done a lot of work with artists where we look at what music is currently trending and whether we can make a remix on one of these songs, put it out there at the time. For example, there was a song called "I Run," which was AI generated recently, and there was a lot of uproar about AI generated music because artists aren't very keen on that. So anyways, the song ended up getting reproduced, resung, and it's now like perfectly fine. It's available on all platforms. But this was a massive talking point in the music industry. So I've gone to a few clients and said, look, this is going viral. This is crazy. The whole industry is looking at this. Let's make a remix on this. And it's inevitable that will go viral. And it does well.
That's cool. That's cool. And how are you finding AI impacting what you do?
Yeah, AI, I mean, it massively helps looking into the analytics of videos and helping with content as well. I mean, artists only have so many ideas, and using AI, ChatGPT to find out some of the new content that people are looking for at the moment is really important. And it does help create ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. There's so many pros and cons to it, isn't there?
And
There really are.
creating music's a different subject.
Yeah, and I think creative people as well are probably more
Yeah,
likely to be like, no, we don't want to
yeah,
do that.
exactly.
But it's how do you use it in a way that actually does add value or saves time or whatever, rather than it taking over you as a creative person.
Yeah, I think it's an efficiency thing, definitely.
I think so. So how are people finding you, and how they work with you and stuff? Where are they coming across you online? Is that where you tend to pick up your clients, or is it word of mouth? What is it?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. So people see my account, and for example, they have a new song coming out and they're looking to promote it. They can obviously do that on their profiles as well. But getting as many people as possible to see that this new song is coming out is the ideal world. So they'll come to me and say, look, this song's coming out. We need you to do X amount of videos on this post and then push it out to all your followers. And then quite often we'll do ad campaigns with them as well, just to really push those numbers. So although I have 20,000 followers, for example, when I post a video, it doesn't reach all 20,000. Say it gets 20, 30,000 views, or even sometimes even less. It can go down to like 5,000 views sometimes. You have to really push those ads to get your audience way out there and really reach another group of people.
And do you ever have people that come to you that haven't got their social accounts set up yet? So you are literally growing them from zero?
I was actually in a nightclub and I really liked one of the DJs, and I was wondering like, how is this guy doing? Like, where does he want to go in his career? I thought this was a good opportunity for me to jump on it and see if I can help him or potentially find my way into this club. So he kind of told me he has no social media presence. He loves DJing, but he's at the point in his career where it's becoming inevitable that he isn't quite going to push into that main stage career of being a DJ. And he was like, I need help marketing myself because that's the hardest thing a lot of DJs have. So I went backstage with him. I spent a couple of weeks with him recording videos, all went on our house. And I did a few videos for his account as well. And then that keeps pushing him out there. I mean, I didn't work for him as long as I'd like to, but we still saw a lot of success in the short run.
Yeah, that's good. So if you were advising someone to start on TikTok or start on Instagram, or maybe it's someone that's been on there for ages, but they're just a bit rubbish. So someone like me, for example, because I don't even have a TikTok account. It makes me feel really old. My daughter's on TikTok and she's like, oh, you're too old. I do use Instagram, but I wouldn't say I'm confident or competent at it.
Yeah.
So for me, because I'm old, LinkedIn is my platform, and that's where most of my clients hang out. And I get a lot of work from LinkedIn, and I've got a big audience on LinkedIn as well. So I could talk to you about that all day long. I'm really confident. Should I be looking at TikTok with what I do at my age? So that's one question. The other question is going to be, with an established but don't really know what I'm doing Instagram account, what should I be doing on there, if anything? Tell me what you think.
I don't think there's any age where you're not able to start TikTok. I think there's a niche for absolutely everybody on TikTok.
A
I mean,
niche for old people.
I come across videos of parenting, advice, all these types of things that people are looking for. And there's a much bigger audience than people think there is out there waiting. And I think if you have a particular niche that you're good at, you will find your audience. It does take time. I think consistency is one of the hardest things with anything in life, really, but Instagram and TikTok especially. It's so difficult to really knuckle down and make sure you are posting those 2 videos a day, all the right hashtags, using the right captions, building in a fan base, getting retention. It's so important now. And it has to be done to elevate any type of business, I think.
So that would be what, for TikTok?
Yeah, for TikTok. And then Instagram, it's very different to TikTok on how people view their posts, I believe. I think TikTok is much more passive. I think a lot of people are there to fill time, whereas I think Instagram can be used to learn a lot more. And I think people take in a lot more on what they see on Instagram.
So at the moment, I'm really inconsistent. I'm consistent on posting stories. I've been a bit rubbish this week because it's like the first week back after the Christmas break. But normally for me, I have a bit of a routine on Instagram in that on a Monday morning, I'll post what I've got coming up this week. People love that because people are nosy. So I get a lot of engagement on that as a story. And then when I'm out and about, I will, I get to go to some quite fun places. So I'll often put pictures and stuff, or I might do links to an article or coverage that I've had that might go in my story. So typically, ignoring right this second, but typically I might have 4 or 5 stories on the go always, and they never run out. There's always something on there, even on the weekends. And it is a bit of a mix of like personal stuff, but worky stuff. Whereas on my grid, I go through phases of like, sometimes I'll not post all week on there. So it's just stories. And I think what I'm kind of coming around to the idea of, I'm never going to grow that account if I'm not putting stuff on the grid, because it's harder for people to find me in the stories, and I should probably be doing more consistent reels.
I think stories you've got it bang on. I think having multiple stories consistently is absolutely perfect. I think with the grid at the moment, reels are taking over than standard posts. Instagram are desperate to compete with TikTok. It's their number one priority right now. And all they will do is push reels much more than posts until people start posting more reels. So that's their main aim at the moment. So I would be looking at 3 to 4 reels a week and 1 post a week to really optimize your growth, because reels are so important.
Do you think, bearing in mind, kind of what I do and etc. Do you think, I'm just thinking out loud here, I wonder whether I'd be better off posting reels or creating reels where I'm out and about during the week or whatever, and then I'm just taking little videos at different events that I'm at or different things I'm speaking at, and then someone probably wouldn't be made, would just create a reel out of it that I can then post. Because I guess that sort of stuff doesn't necessarily have to be on the day. It can just be, here's what I've been up to this week. And actually, maybe I'm thinking out loud, this is why these conversations are so useful, because people really engage with the week ahead story where I'm listing everything on a story. Maybe my first point of call here is to create a weekly, I know it's not 3 times a week, but this is just one consistent idea where I then do a review of the week with the video that becomes a reel, and then that fits in with that story as well.
I think that's a great idea. I think that makes you more relatable as well, showing people what you're up to, how you go about your day, how you do your podcast is what everyone wants to see, not just the content itself.
This conversation's been really helpful today, because it's a reminder to me that I need to practice what I preach and do some of this stuff. So I think I'm going to try that actually, around just getting a few clips here and there during the week and see what we can put together. And then I'd then also have a weekly clip that I could. So there we go. There's 2 reels straight off, isn't there? Because there's one a week from my podcast, getting a clip and using that, putting it out. And then also there is my week in review type reel. I'm going to do that. That's my commitment from this session. Before we finish up, talk to me a little bit about what other things you are doing to raise your profile other than social media. Are you looking at anything else, or is it all online and socials for you?
I love videography and photography as well. So recently I've been getting more into events. So I've been to plenty of events recently, trying to network with people. And I've managed to get press passes for quite a few events, which I've really enjoyed doing, getting behind the scenes and being able to go to places I wouldn't normally be able to and record videos of DJs. Although that does go towards social media, it's also something I'm looking into doing more of, videography.
Yeah, and I think events are really important, and we often talk on this show, and when we're talking about personal branding more generally, like events are underrated, and because so much stuff is online, actually going to things in person is actually sometimes where you're getting the magic happening, because it's doing so many other things, and it's potentially introducing you to people you might collaborate with or you might be able to work with in some way. So that's all really, really positive. So that's cool. And obviously you've clearly got a strategy around going on podcasts, because you approached me to come on the show. So, that's something, again, that's going to give you content that you can put on socials, but equally it's still going to then now get you in front of my audience. So you're obviously thinking about these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, it's been great to chat. You've definitely given me a bit of food for thought. So anyone that's not already connected with you, where is the best place for them to find you? Is it Instagram and TikTok by any chance?
Instagram and TikTok, yeah, at bondi.dj and at ourhouse.uk.
Perfect. And we will pop links to both of those in the show notes to make it really easy for people to connect with you.
Thank you
Ollie,
very much.
thanks so much for joining me on Beyond the Bio. It's been awesome to chat to you today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.